Yeah. Able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So in the last session, we have started about the IMA roles. IMA is a, like identity and access management. Like the person who is going to log into the AWS account. So the person has to give account creation. Like when we are creating a new account, so there will be two kinds of user will be there. So one is a root user, another one is a IMA user. So the root user is nothing but he will have the all the privileges like admin privileges he will be there. But in the real time scenario, you are the not the part of the admin user. You will be the IMA user. So what type of necessary permissions you require for project related. For example, if you have 100 plus services in AWS, we are not going to work on the 100 plus services, right? So you may get a chance to work only the few services in AWS. So those type of services only they will give permissions for you. So those type of restrictions like the new user creations, whether he belongs to which type of project or which group he belongs to. Okay, so what set of permissions we want to give for the user, all these things, access related things, we are going to maintain in the IMA part. Okay, so if you want to restrict any user based upon the permissions, so we are going to talk about the IMA. Okay, so in IMA we have users, groups, policies, and roles. Okay, so these are the only the four parts we are going to discuss about the IMA. For example, I want to log in with a new user has been joined into your team. So that person also we need to give a AWS access. Okay. So if four members are part of the team, instead of creating a separate policy for the individual person, what we will do, we are organizing them into a group. Okay. So whenever new person is also came into a team, right? So if only one user is there, we can create a policy for him. So as a part of a team, if new member also joined our team, so why can't we create a group? Okay, so like that, we will create a group. Something like he belongs to the development group, he belongs to the testing group, he may belongs to the audit group. Okay, it may be any kind of a group. So instead of creating the separate policies, it will take lots of policies for individual user. So what they have considered as a group. So we can create one group. We will add that all users to the group. So we can create one policy and attach that policy to that particular group. So the users which are belongs to that particular group, so they can also apply that rules and permissions. Okay, so those type of things here we can apply the group here. Same thing, it will be like users. So we can create a user here. Okay, Kumar one user we have created it, and in that we have attached the policy. Okay, so two types of policies are available. So one is AWS managed policy, means defaultly the policy which comes with AWS account, means no need to create it, already based upon the lots of projects and lot of usages. So AWS also created some policies for us. So those type of policies we are going to call it as AWS managed policy. And which policy you are creating by your own, that policy we are going to call it as a custom policy. Okay, so the custom policy is this one. Okay, so it will be completely the JSON format. So if you are good at JSON writing, okay, so JSON is open and close the package. And if you want to allow the multiple values, we are going to put the flower brackets. These are the flower brackets, these are the square brackets. So if you want to have the multiple statements, multiple things, we will open with open and close your bracket. So JSON contains, if you are starting with anything, if you have a multiple values, we should have the comma. If you have the single value, we don't require like this. Okay, so this is the basic syntax of the JSON format. If you don't know how to write this JSON document also, no problem. So there are some editors are there, policy generators are there. So with the help of that editors, we can easily do it. Okay, so know how to get the access for the user. Okay, suppose if you want to create a new user, so add users, create users, and this is the one user. So password, auto-generated password you want it, or you can create your own custom password. Okay, so password reset. Once you log in first time, So if you want to reset the password reset option, we can put the checkbox. Okay. So if you don't want, we can do it. Next, permissions. Here we need to have it. So already, if you want to add this user to the particular group, so development group, if you want to add it, we can add it. Otherwise, if the user is individual user, no need to add the user to the group. Okay, if we add the user to the group, so what are the permissions we are applicable for this group? So those permissions will be applicable for that respective user. Okay, so if you want to have those kind of options, we can use here also, or from the main page also, you can do the go to the particular group, and also there also we can add the user. Okay, so next thing is copy permissions from the existing user. So what are the permissions you are having if you are not adding the user to the group? So next thing is user is created. Now we need to set the permissions for the user. So there are two ways we can set it. Either from the user we can copy it, either we can attach the user to the group. So if you attach to the admin group, he belongs to the admin also. What are the admin permissions have it? So we can also have the permissions to the Anj. Okay. So if you don't want to set the permissions from the group level, so we can also, one more option is copy options from the existing user. Okay, so user is nothing but what are the user. You feel that same permissions I want like the user, another user. So if you do take Kumar user, so what are the user permissions we have for the Kumar? Same permissions will be added for the things. Okay, so if you don't want it, okay, we can select this one. Okay, change type. Okay, so if you want to add your own policy, okay, so here you can see type AWS managed one. Okay, so when you see AWS managed one, so these are the default policies which was created by the AWS. Okay, so if you want to have the EC2 related, so EC2 related full permissions, if you want to have the EC2 full access, we can go with I want to have the EC2 full access. We can see the EC2 full access. Okay, so this is EC2 full access JSON document. Okay, so if you want to have the full access, I want all permissions for the EC2. We can search for the EC2 and we can select this policy. These are the AWS managed policy. Now I don't want to attach any policy. Just next add tags review. Okay, this user has no permission. Just we have created the user, but we don't have any permissions. Just click on create user. Okay, so now go to the close section. Okay, so now Anj, it doesn't belongs to any group. So when you click on the user details, you don't have any permissions also. Okay, so it comes to the dashboard. I am a dashboard. So this is the sign in URL for the IAM users. So click this one, go to the another browser and type this one. Okay, so whenever we are logging the real-time scenario, so you will be logging like this, not with the root user. Root user directly will ask for the username and password, but here it will ask for, it will defaultly take your account ID and username. Okay, so same password you have given, click on sign in. Okay, now you can see the difference between normal user, root user, and IAM user. So when you see account ID, the name we are coming here. So, but when you open to the other browser, you can see IAM user is coming. Okay, so this is the okay. So when we click on the IMS service or any service, you take it. Okay, so when we click IAM user, normal root user, we can see all permissions. Okay, so if you click here, so this is a admin user. So when you click the roles, account analyzer, identity providers, policies, okay. So all these things, if you click, you are able to see all the things, okay. But when it comes to the login with, you can see everything. When you click on the roles, users, user groups, identity providers, anything, if you click it, so we don't have any permissions for the end user, because so if you're really using this service only, they will give the permissions, admin will give the permissions, okay. So also in that also he can restrict in the each and every functionality also, whether he is working on the users or roles, means he will give the permission only for the user level and roles level. For example, he want to work only the users level, okay. So first of all, we need to identify the service name, then function name. So the user is end user and the function name is here. Okay. So list users is the one of the function. So if you give the permissions for the end user, the list users, so then anyway he can able to access that one. Okay. Either we can write our own thing, or if you're not good at the JSON document, so you can come here. Okay. So add permissions. Okay. So come to the policies. Click on create policy. So when you click on the create policy, this policy we are going to call it as a custom policy. Okay. So we can write our own JSON document here, or we can go with editor. So this is called as a policy generator editor. So this is a UI based tool. So which service you want to do it, all the activities we can perform here. Okay. So choose the service. These many services it will be supported. So which service you want it? IMA service I want it. So check that service. So when you select this one, automatically it will reflect here once you do the saving option. Okay. So here you can see what are the permissions you wanted, listed. So once you list it, there are three things are there: list, view, update, delete. Okay. So list is nothing but only listing the things, users. But when you click on the particular user, you want to view the details. So those type of things we can see segregated into 4 ways: list, view, read, write, tagging. Okay. So when you see the list, these many things are functions are available. So when you see the read options, when you want to write something, if you want to delete the user also. Okay. So first of all, we see what the permissions I wanted. I want only the list users. So select the list users. Okay. So under the list level, we have so many functions are there, but I want to go with only the list users. Click that one. Okay. So under the resources, we don't have. So next tags, next review. Okay. So name, custom, IMA, user, policy. Okay. So next policy. Okay. So if you see custom IMA user policy, this was created by just now. And when it expand this, you can see. Okay. So this is the way based upon your automatically it will be generated in the JSON format, and always it will be version statement admin. We can do anything, no problem. Okay. So effect, allow and deny, both options will be there. So if you want to define it, deny option is there. So if you specifically deny means we can deny it. So allow means I want to allow it. Okay. So list users, I want to allow this functionality under the IMA list users. Resource is nothing but for all the resources. Okay. Only for the particular resource ARN means we can give the ARN details here. Okay. So you can copy this, go to the user section, go to the unch, permissions, add permissions. Okay. Okay. Here we can select custom IMA user policy. Next review, add permissions. Okay. Now you can see we have attached one policy to the user. So if you want to edit the policy, we can click on edit. It will automatically goes to the editor. Okay. Click on cancel. Now we can come here and we can click on the roles. We don't have any permissions to the roles level. List roles we haven't given. Click on the users. Okay. Now you can see I can view the users. Only listing the users I can do it. But when we click or any perform any operations or anything, see, only the listing, only I want to view the list of the users, I got the permissions. But if I want to perform anything, add permissions, user policies, I want to add it. I want to get the get user information. When I click the user, I want to get the these many users information, I want to get it. Okay. So if I want to get the analyzer information, okay. So this is the functions we need to know it. Okay. So we need to go to the same thing. I want to get the list of all the users means list user policies. I need to select. Go to here. Click this edit policy. Click on your policy name. Actions. Okay. So what is your name? List user policies. List user policies. You need to select it. Next is we want to get the permissions for the get user. I want to get the get user information. Here it is now. Get user. Okay. So we can select the get user. Next is if you want to get all this permission, just we'll try to test this one. Review policy. Save changes. Okay. So now here we can see previously we have only single value is there. Now we have the list of values are there. So the policy document, it has been changed to the this. Okay. So now we can come here and we can refresh the page. Okay. Now we can see list attached user policies. We haven't attached it. List attached user policies. Edit policy. Review policy. Save changes. Okay. Come here. Refresh the page. List attached user policies. Attached, right? Okay. So you people understand the concept, right? So when you do, if you want to perform any kind of activity, okay. So we need to know the function name, which function name you want to add it. List group for user. So if you want to get the list of group of all the users related things, so we can keep this one as a saved document whenever any person asks it. So we can write the sample syntax for it. Okay. So statement, version, statement ID, effect, allow or deny, then actions and resource. So this syntax we need to remember it because in the real-time scenarios or in the interview perspective, they will ask us to write the sample syntax for us. At least if you know the syntax, then it is fine. Okay. So same thing we can apply for any type of permissions you wanted for the IMA user. You need to go to the policy document or the policy which has attached to the user level or the group level. So one policy will create it and we will attach to the group also. If you want to add to the group, so no need, whenever any new person new person came to, right? So we can directly, what are the permissions is added? So we can add the users here directly. Okay. So what are the policy permissions which is there belongs to the group? Okay. So we can add the permissions attach policies, n number of policies, not only the single one. So we can attach a number of policies. Okay.
So, Sham, one question. So,
Yes.
if I have been added to the group and I have been given individual policy roles as well, right? So,
Yes.
which of them will take effect if I'm added?
Everything will be taken. Everything will be taken. User level, it will be taken. Group level also will be taken. Okay. So this is user. This is a group. So this A is a username. Okay. So this belongs to A user. It belongs to the group also. Okay. So it belongs to group also. Okay. So other users also will be there. So if you attach a number of policy, we have created separate policy. This policy will be attached to him. And what are the new policy attached to this also? It belongs to group also. Okay. So you can write a number of policies and we can attach the user level and group level. So why the group concept is come means, so you are working as a part of a group. So instead of creating the individual policies here, so why can't we create the group and we can add the users here? Our teammates, we can add to the group. So instead of putting the efforts on the individual policy, we can put the efforts on the single policy. So if you have the permissions for one model, so your teammates also should have the same permissions. That's the reason we are adding the same thing, same policy. We will work on only the single policy instead of working for the individual user. If user is belongs to the same group, in same development team, same part of what are the work you are doing, same your teammates also will be doing the same work, then we are organizing the group. So you belongs to the development group, some other user is belongs to the testing group. So there will be differ in the permissions. So we will create one more group, testing group. So we will add the users to the testing group. So we will create separate policy to these people. Okay. So policy, we will generate one more policy and we will attach the policy to this particular group. Okay. So if this user belongs to both the groups, he can do the development work, he can do the testing work. So this policy will be applicable to both policies will be applicable. Okay. Suppose, for example, he belongs to the testing. He belongs to the development also. One person can do the both the activities. If one person is belongs to both the teams, means in our scenario, he can belongs to two groups. So the permissions will be applicable for the both permissions will be applicable for the user. Okay. Don't think that so one user can belongs to only one group only. That is not the case. So one user can belongs to the multiple groups. He may assign multiple permissions. Okay. That got it?
Yeah, understood.
Yeah. User level is there, group level is there. User can belongs to multiple groups. We can attach multiple policies. We can attach the single policy. Or IMA completely deals with the policy only. So what are permissions you want to give for the user when he login is? So once I log into the AWS account, what type of access I required? All this will be handled by the policies only. Okay. So if you don't know how to write it, so we can go with policy generator that will help us to generate the policy for you. Okay. So once you get the policy, every time no need to go to the policy. You know how to write the single one and you know how to write the group one. Okay. So now you can have the group one. Okay. So if somebody asks us to do something, just copy it. If you want to do one more option, I want to get the list group. Function name is list group for the user. You can copy it. So here, action, we have the comma is there. At last, we don't have the comma. So put one more comma. Put IMA colon that function name. This. Okay. So you should know the model name, which service you are going to work it, and that service name, function name, you need to know it. So if you know this concept, we can directly copy it, edit it. Okay, go to the JSON. Okay, save it. Review policy, save changes. That's it. So only the first time only you are able to difficulty in order to generate the policy. So if we know how to write for the single one or double one, we can do it. Okay. So like that we can do it. Okay. So now
But
we can,
how do we test these policies, whatever permissions we have given? How
yeah,
do we
that
test? How do we
we,
test it? It's working.
now we have testing, right? Anji user don't have the list users function. So when I log in with Anji here,
Yeah.
so when you click the first time users, you are able to view the list, right?
Yeah.
But if I remove the permissions now, let us see. I'm going to the Anji user now. Okay. Here Anji is having the user. So here we have the permissions. You can see.
Hmm.
Okay. So edit policy, copy, cut it, and then okay, we are removing this policy. Okay. Okay. So this is a Anji user. So when I click on the permission sections, I don't have any permissions here. Okay. So now if I click here, now you are able to see the users list. If I click and refresh,
Hmm.
okay, same
Okay.
thing, list users is there. Now I have the list users. I can copy this, add permissions, okay, attach policies, custom. Okay, so in this, you can see the list users is there, get user information is there, list group, list attached user policies, user policy. Okay, review, add permissions, got it. Now, when we refresh it, okay, so let's go to the other thing, come back.
Hmm.
See,
Yeah.
user able to view the list of all the users. So before adding the permissions, you are not able to view the users list. So in order to view the list of all the users, so we have added same thing when we click on something, if you are not getting any permissions, so we need to know what is the function name. That function name we will add it.
Okay.
Okay. So that function name we will get from the, so here if you click the policies, you are able, this is admin user. So if you go to the policy section, you see, if you want to get the list of all the policies, what is the function name here telling? List policies. Come here. IMA colon policies. Okay. Take this, copy it, go to the end user. Edit policy. Go to the JSON. I'm adding the list of policies. So before adding, you should add the comma, syntax, review it, save it. Okay. So now come here, refresh it. Okay. So if you're not reflecting, go for the users. I can come back to the policies.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So defaultly all our delay option is there for IMA user. Okay. So you can write your own policy document and you can attach it to that particular user. So if new teammate also came, instead of Anju place, then one more person is called Hemant came to picture. So Hemant also belongs to our team. We also want to have the same permissions. Instead of writing the same entire policy attachment or creating user or copying from the existent. So if we add the user to the group, okay, so we can organize them into group. Already we have attached the policy to the existing group. So he belongs to the group. So set of permissions, what applicable for the entire group, he will also having the same permissions. Okay. So IMA is completely deals with permissions. It is in your hands, what type of permissions you want to give it. Okay. So what set of permissions you want to give for the any type of service, not only the IMA. Okay. So if you go for anything, S3. Okay, so S3, if you go, that function name, okay, we need to select the service name and the function. Okay, so if you click on the S3, okay, so here you can see, can you see?
Hmm.
These are all disabled for ng user. Can you see? Copy
Yes.
error, empty, delete, create bucket. Okay, so but when I goes to the admin user, okay, you can see create bucket option is there. You can create. Can you go to the list of all the buckets? So we can see create bucket is there. But when you see, okay, so these type of permissions, how you are going to give it. So we need to go to the policy document. Okay, so go to the IMA, create your own policy. Okay, so if you want to give the set of all the permissions, I want to give the like S3 full access, I want to give it admin permissions. So go to the users or the groups, anything is fine. Go to the users and user. Okay, so go to here, edit policy. Okay, already IMA is there. I want to add
S3.
S3. Okay, S3. If you want to give these many services, like here, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of giving all these things, list, read, write, I think all S3 actions, if you want to put it, you can put it. Means,
Hmm.
okay. Review policy, save changes. Okay. Okay. Now we can see
Hmm.
three full permissions. We got it. So come here, refresh the page. Now you can
Hmm.
see. Okay.
Hmm.
So like that, whenever you are not able to access anything in the AWS account, so it is completely responsible that what is the policy document it has been attached to the user or which user belongs to that particular group. It completely rely on your policy document. Okay. So this one we should be very careful if you're not able to access anything. Okay. Got it?
Yeah. Sham, what is the roles concept?
Yeah. Next I will tell it. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Users we got it. Next to roles we got it. Next policies we got it. Done, right? So next is the groups. Okay. So next concept is we have the roles. Roles is nothing but we have seen now individual service. Okay. So individual service is nothing but we have seen about the IMA permission, IMA service, S3 service. I'm able to view the services, like I want to view the list of users, I want to see the list of policies. Means what are the functionality we are seeing only for the particular service. S3 create bucket is not there. But if I want to communicate from one service to another service, okay. So for example, this is S3. S3 service, and this is EC2. Okay. So now we have seen the policies like IMA policies we have seen for, if you want to get the permissions for S3, have seen S3 policy, right? So if you want to get the permissions for the S3, I have created S3 policy attachment. I have attached to the IMA user. So if you want to get the EC2 permissions, I will create one policy document, right? So I will create one policy. I will get the EC2 permissions. But if I want to communicate from EC2 to S3, or S3 to EC2. If you want to communicate from one service to another service, if you want to do the communication, then we are going to use the roles concept. Okay, so individual service, we will directly create the policy and we will attach the policy to this one. If I want to get the S3 permissions, I will create one custom policy. I can attach that policy to the user. So I may get the permissions to the S3 level. But now from EC2, I have got the EC2 permissions. I got the S3 permissions, but I want to communicate from EC2 to S3. How we will get it? Got it?
Yep.
Okay. So now we got the individual permissions. I got the S3 permissions. I got it. I got EC2 permissions. I got it. Okay. So EC2, S3, IMA. I got separate permissions. I got it. So I have created separate policy. I have attached to the user. Now I can access the S3 service. I can access the EC2 service. I can access IMA service. But I want to communicate from EC2 to S3. IMA to some EC2 to Lambda. Okay. So this type of communication, service to service communication, if you want to do it, then we are going to use the concept called roles. Okay. Service to service communication. Okay. Individual service, we can attach the policy. Here also the roles also, the permissions will be the policy only, but here we need to select the source and destination services. Okay. So from which service to which service you want to communicate it. Same thing, the source service, we need to select it, and destination services, you need to select it. And what type of permissions you want to give for the source to the destination. In the destination, I want to access only few things. I want to list all the buckets. I want to create an object. I want to perform all operations on S3 means. So those type of permissions we can get it using roles. Roles is service to service communication. Policy is nothing but set of instructions we are passing to the statements we are creating to give the set of permissions. Okay. So it may be the user level, it may be the group level, it may be the service level. Okay. Understood, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So now how we are going to test it? Service to service. Okay. So now if I go here, I go EC2. Okay. So click on one launch instance here. Amazon Linux, P2 Micro, pair. Okay. Now I want to communicate from EC2 to S3. EC2 is a one service and S3 is a one service. So I want to communicate from EC2 to S3 means this is source, this is destination. Okay. So now just I will show you how it's going to communicate. Okay, let us see. Let us wait server to come.
So if we go in IAM policy, there would be option for roles as well, right?
Yeah, roles will be there. Okay, if you see IMA, roles. Okay, so here roles will be there. Create a role. You can see.
AWS service, AWS account, web address.
Okay, so this is service to service communication. From which service source and destination. So from EC2, I want to do it. Select use case for other services you want to do it. Which service you want to do it? S3. Okay, common use cases EC2. Next. Here, same thing, the policy. Which policy you want to attach it? So first we'll create the policy from EC2 to S3. What type of permissions you required on destination service? Those type of permissions will create a policy and we'll attach the policy here. So previously we have seen about the user level permissions. Now here the roles is complete deals with the service level, component level. Okay, so that is only the difference. User, we already got the permissions. Now, once user has been logged into the EC2, he got the EC2 permissions. From EC2, he want to communicate with other services. So that for that purpose, we are going to use the roles concept. Okay, so let us see one more. Okay, so then a server is ready. Just I will show you. Okay, colors, use defaults, appearance, change. Don't worry, the persons who are first time designing how to launch it. I will explain you when EC2 instance comes in picture. Okay, so SSH authentication, browse. Okay, so here we are going to communicate. This is a EC2 server. Now I want to communicate with S3. Okay, so whenever we are sending any request from EC2. Okay, so this is S3 service. Okay, so whenever you are sending any request from EC2 to S3, so first of all, it will check it whether EC2 have the proper permissions to S3 or not. So then only it will give the respective information. If you don't have their permissions, it will show like this. Okay, so first of all, in order to check this one, just we will type AWS version. Okay, so AWS CLI is already there. Okay, so once you do the AWS --- version, so it will show the CLI things. Okay, so if you want to know the list of all the S3 buckets, okay, you can see. So AWS S3 ls is the CLI command. To give the list of all, AWS is the command name and the service name ls. We'll give the list of all S3 buckets which are available in my. Okay, S3 is a global service, so no need to give the region based. So currently we have logged in the Singapore region, but you want to see the list of all the S3 buckets. Okay, so if you see here, here we don't have any buckets, just I'm creating my bucket here. So that is testing. Today's date is 21/11/2022. Okay, just I'm creating the bucket. That's it. Okay, so we have one bucket name is 20 testing. This name is there. So, but when I log into the S3, when I'm listing the AWS S3 LS, we don't have proper permissions to view the list of S3 buckets. So in order to get these permissions, now we are trying to communicate from EC2 to S3, but we are not able to get the complete information because EC2 service don't have the permissions to the S3. So in order to get the permissions, what we need to do? So we need to create a IMA role for it. Okay. So go to the role section again. Okay. So here we'll go to the roles, create a role. Okay. So my service is EC2. Next, permissions. I want to get S3 full access. I'm taking S3 full access. Next, create a role. The role name is what you can do, EC2 to S3 full access. Same thing only the service name, source service we are going to select it. Remaining all the things are same policy. So previously you have people have seen the user level. So forget about now the user level. Now it comes to the service level. EC2 level, create a role. Okay. So now we got the okay. So EC2 through S3 full access. So this service we have custom role we have created it. Okay. So now if you want to get the same permissions, when you type EC2 S3 LS, AWS S3 LS, when you type it, we don't have proper permissions to list of the S3. Now what we can do, so which service you are going to do it? Okay, from this EC2, we have the actions. Okay, so under the security tab, we can add the IMA roles. So modify IMA role is there. What are the IMA role we have created? Select that one, update. Okay, so now, can you see? Okay, now we have got to the S3 bucket. Now we got the S3 bucket, whatever the S3 bucket we have created. Now I'm able to view it. Before I'm not attaching the IMA role. So when you do the S3 LS, it is saying that, so unable to locate means it is not able to understand the things. So if you want to do the communication from one service to another service, we should have IMA role. Okay, so then only we are able to perform things. Okay, same thing.
So
This
Sham,
is,
from where did we attach that policy? Can you show that again from that security thing? What you just did? Can you just remove the attach and again
yes.
do that?
Go to the security tab here. In
Yeah.
actions tab, we have the security tab. When you click this one, we have the modify IMA role is there. Okay.
Okay.
So click that IMA role. So no IMA role selected.
Yeah. Okay.
Update IMA role. Okay. So we can have detach.
Okay.
Okay. So currently we don't have IMA role. Okay. So now we can come here.
Okay.
We don't have any permissions now. So I want to get the S3 related informations. I can check this one. Click on the actions, security tab, modify IMA role, click that one. So what are the custom IMA roles we have created? All the IMA roles will come here. Just if you are not able to see it, click on the refresh. So the new IMA role will be updated here. So once you see, I have created my own role, EC2 to S3 full access. We can click on the update, successfully attached to this particular server. Now we can test it by.
Okay.
Got it? So this is roles is nothing but service to service communication. I want to get S3 information in my EC2. If you don't attach the IMA role, so EC2 will not understand. So whenever you are writing any command here, it will not do. So if you want to create a new bucket, okay, so we got the full permissions. So there are two things are there. One is manual activity, one is through command based rate, right? So here, instead of clicking on the create bucket also, we can do with CLI thing. Okay, so AWS S3 CLI. Okay, so this is the official document. Okay, so these are the things are there. So if you want to create a bucket, Okay, so copy is the comment. Examples will get, don't worry. Okay, so this is the so this is the CLI command to create the S3 bucket. So whenever you are seeing the S3 bucket here name, right? So testing 2121, this is the manually we have created. So I don't want the manual activity. I want to go with the command based. So already we got the permissions here. S3 permissions, you got it. AWS S3 LS. So if you want to perform any kind of a operations through CLI, so we can do with two ways. One is through IMA role. We got the full access. Now I want to create my bucket name. Create bucket. Bucket name is AWS training. Bucket name should be like 21 11 2022. Okay. So which region you want to create it? So I want to create in AP Southeast one. Copy this. These are the two mandatory fields. Just select this. Copy this. Come here. Before that, we can test here. So we can refresh the S3 page. We have only one bucket is there. So now I can put the CLI, I can paste it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is the not the correct way. Let me organize in a place. Copy. Calling the create bucket, then answer the location constraint. Specific endpoint the request was sent to. AP Southeast. Spelling correct only, right? Region. Okay, so you can see the bucket got created, AWS training 2122. You can come here and refresh the page.
What was the error and what did we fix it to get this?
Region name, yeah, region is, it is taking, the region is not taking. So I have passed the bucket name. The bucket name is the only the mandatory thing.
Okay.
This error we got it. So this is the AWS S3 API is the model name. So this is the function name. This is the arguments key and this is the value. Okay. So S3 API, if you want to get it, go to AWS. Okay. So create bucket. Like this. Bucket name, hyphen region name. Okay. So if you want to go with a specific region, hyphen region name. Okay. So if you want to do with forcefully object ownership, we can do the forceful. Okay. Like that. Okay. If you don't pass the region name, so North Virginia is the default region. You will take North Virginia. Okay. So here I want to show the example, right? So if you want to create any activity, so we can go with two ways. So we can go through the console. Otherwise, we can go through the CLI. CLI we can do with two ways. So one is through IMA roles, another one by setting the CLI. Okay. So already for the centralized machines, the CLI is there. So how to set up the CLI for the new machines also I will show you for other OSs. Okay. So you got the point, right, Net? How the roles will works.
So Sham, what is the what is that called? Service account role. What is that for?
Which one?
Service account. we have that sometimes you use service account to
Service to service. This is EC2 is one service, right?
yeah.
EC2 is one service. Okay, here all are services. Next S3 is one service. Okay, so now I want to perform from EC2. I have logged into the EC2, right? So this is my EC2 service. From EC2, I want to perform S3 actions. Okay, so now service to service communication is nothing but from EC2 to I'm able to communicate with S3. So same thing if I want to perform with IMA. IMA. Okay, so IMA list users. If you type AWS IMA, so we want to get the AWS IMA commands. You type it, but you will not get the permissions. Why? Okay, list users. See, AWS IMA, I want to get the list of all the users. So we are getting access denied. Why? Because now from the EC2, we got only the permissions for the S3. So there is one more service called IMA. We don't have policy attached for related to the IMA. So that's why we are not able to communicate with IAM. Okay, that is called the service to service communication. From EC2 to I can communicate to S3 because I have attached the IMA role. In that IMA role, we have the policy. That policy will contain the S3 related information. We don't have the IMA related information. That's the reason if you are performing anything, IMA list users, we are not getting the S3. I'm able to get the information. But when I'm typing the list users, I'm not getting. Okay. Understood the concept?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the way we are going to do the service to service communication. So user level, group level, policy level permissions is like getting the permissions for this particular service. Once we got the service from there where you want to communicate it, that will be defined under the roles.
Sham, if you want to connect any service through ACI, right? EC2, right?
We need to go to that particular role. What are the role we have done, right? EC2. Okay, EC2 full access. We got it, right? So we can edit this policy. Okay. Okay. So again, we can attach one more policy. IMA. Okay. So IMA full access attach policy. Now we can see we got full access of S3. We got full access of S3. Okay. Now we can come here. Just we can see. Now here. Users, admin user is there. Ansh Kumar. Okay. So previously when I typed the same thing, we got access denied. But after adding the policy to that particular role, then we are able to do this activity. Same thing will be applicable for any kind of a service. You can attach the multiple policies to the single role. You can come here, go to the roles, have add two. If you want to attach one more, go to any service. VPC related. Okay, like that. So based upon, you can write your own custom policy also. That custom policy also we can attach here. Okay, so they will see the what are the expected output, they will see it. Okay, understood, guys? Everybody got the point of roles?
Sham, this last part I didn't get. I am.
See, so nothing is there here. So currently we are in the EC2 service. Okay, so now I am into the EC2 here. Okay. So when I do the S3 LS, I got the S3 permissions. That's the reason I'm able to perform the S3 actions. So if you go and roles. Okay. So now this one, I want to remove it. Okay. Okay. Now if I come here, wait, you can see.
Yeah.
So based upon the permissions which you are setting, then only we can perform the action. Now when I do the S3 LS from the EC2 service, I'm not able to do. But same thing if I do IMA, I'm able to perform. Okay. So if we remove this IMA also, okay. So under the roles EC2 to the S3 Flex role has been added to the usage, but under that we don't have any permissions. So now when I come here, see, I'm not able to perform any operations related to the IMA. So if I want to get the which service you are going to work it, IMA, so that service we can add permissions, attach policy, go to search for IMA. We can take the full access, attach policy. Now under the permission sections, I got the IMA full access. Now I can go here. I can perform S3 LS. We don't have permissions for S3. Same thing if I do the IMA, I got the IMA information.
Okay.
Got it? Same thing I want for S3 now. So what we need to do? So whatever the role that has been attached to my EC2 server, so that role is here. We need to commit and add policies. Click on policy, search for that which service you want to communicate it. S3. Search for that service. Select that service. Attach policy. Now we have multiple permissions. One is IMA permissions is there. S3 is there. Come here and type S3.
Yeah.
That's it. So from one single service to BK, if you want to communicate with multiple services, it depends upon your whatever the role we have attached to this EC2, and this role contains set of permissions. Those permissions, it is in our hands. What type of permissions we want to give it.
Okay.
Okay. So that is the complete example of the roles. If you have still the doubts, I can clarify it. So if you don't have the doubts, we can wind up the class today. Okay.
Okay.
Got it?
Nothing,
Users,
thank you.
roles, permissions, everything got it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Chalo, bye guys. Tomorrow we'll catch up.
Okay.